I want you to imagine your little kid going down to the library and everything's normal and you're going to hear a story and you walk in and there's a drag queen and like man dressed as a woman and you're like, what in the H is that? Like, it's terrifying. You're a little kid and it's you don't know like what in the H it is. But so it's just a thing that happens across the United States and across countries that's actually illegal. It actually happens. Kids actually go to these things and people think it's okay. And the thing is, you're one of the targets of this propaganda. You're one of the targets of the community because they want you to conform to their ideology. They want you to tolerate them and think they're okay and be fine with their sin and accept it. And that's kind of their whole movement. And they're negatively affecting society's perceptions of marriage and sin with everything they do. Everything they have, homosexuality, all that, just completely destroying society's everything about it. And then the LGBTQ movement is undermining tradition and social order in an attempt to create a new generation of sympathizers to their cause. It's trying to create a new generation that makes legislation for them, that sees them as okay, that sees their sin as fine, that doesn't care. It's like, oh yeah, that's a great thing, and that's kind of their big goal. And they're targeting children to this end. They're trying to get the children to believe this because they're the easiest to brainwash, the easiest to tell this, and they're radicalizing marriage and tradition and displaying it for the children. And they want to change culture, but they want to do it on the path of least resistance. So that's kind of why they're going after the children, because they don't really know much better, or they don't have a standard moral concrete idea why it's wrong. So, and they're doing this through mostly public school curriculum. And according to the New York Post, LGBTQ books are now being used and recommended in kindergarten across the United States. And also, a quote, Governor Gavin Newsom, who has railed against book bans, threatened to fine the district and send the banned textbooks directly to its students if the school board didn't implement the books by the beginning of the school year. End quote, Medina 2023. And the thing is, that was a quote about LGBTQ propaganda books. And yeah, he said he was going to fine the school board and send the books to the students, directly to them, if they didn't implement them. So it's kind of, he's helping push their agenda, he's helping push their ideology. And the thing is, children are most susceptible to their ideology. And the thing is, all books have an ideology, all of them. They might say they don't, but they all have them. Every book has it. The way they write pictures, the way they write the book, it has an ideology and it's pushing something. And LGBTQ books are no different. So, and they go after the children because they realize the next generation, even as the communists did, is of utmost importance. It kind of will revolutionize the future if you get that generation. And quote, this cult relied on the juxtaposition between true communist children and everyone else. By institutionalizing this reverence for childhood, the Communist Party isolated those children who did not join such groups and were in fact able to create a radical other or class enemy before citizens even entered the workforce. End quote. Kirchenbaum, 2001. So yeah, we see this today when, like, if you don't like gay people or you don't like LGBTQ community, you're called homophobic, even racist, sometimes misogynistic, a bigot. And yeah, they're creating a huge class division based on all this, and it's just ruining society. And they're destroying the idea of the standard home as well, and they're forcing children to live with it. And by doing this, they're radicalizing marriage and tradition and making homosexuality a good thing or whatever in the eyes of culture. And a quote, based on polling in 2019, a majority of Americans, 61%, support same-sex marriage, while 31% oppose it. So more than half of America supports it now. End quote, Pew Research 2019. So yeah, more than half of America supports it as opposed to a few years back where it was the opposite statistics. And another study by Statista shows that, quote, 19.2% of millennials identify as LGBTQ, while only 1.7% of traditionalists identify as LGBTQ, end quote. So they're pushing this on the millennials. They're pushing this on the newer generations because they don't have that concrete moral ideology. They don't understand why it's wrong, so they just get brainwashed by it. While the traditionalists, they more believe in the Bible, they more believe in tradition, and they know better than all this stupidity. And a quote by Elfried Ferschig said that the contemporary mass media operates as a normalizing form for the social construction of reality. End quote. Ferschig, 2021. And the thing is, they push this agenda through the media, through media representations. That's how they get the newer generations, because media normalizes everything. People think what they see in media is true, so they just trust it. LGBTQ marriages are a complete turnaround of America's Christian tradition. They have distorted God's plan for marriage. Quote, and Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She should be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Genesis 2:23-24, end quote. And yeah, it says a man shall leave his mother and father. Not a man shall leave his mother and father and marry his husband, or a woman shall leave her mother and father and marry her wife. No, a man shall leave his mother and father and marry his wife. So, not a man and a woman. And that they're pushing an agenda that God sees as detestable. Quote, if a man lies with a male as he lies with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. End quote. Leviticus 20:13. And yeah, God hates LGBTQ ideology. It's detestable to him. So they're trying to push us on our children, on our generations, something that God hates. And that's not okay. And not only their blood should be on their heads, but also the blood of the children they influence will be on their heads on that judgment day for the LGBTQ community. Because they're just destroying children, they're destroying society, they're destroying everything. And they negatively affect the perceptions of marriage and sin. They target children. They radicalize marriage and tradition. And the thing is, marriage is a sacred biblical principle, and the LGBT community is making it into a mockery. And as Christians, we need to put a stop to this.